Okay, so what is a book? Is a book restricted to the codex form we all know, or can it include scrolls? What if a book has no words? Or it doesn't have a cover? If someone hands you a piece of paper and tells you it's a book, is it? Is it a book if it has no pages? What if you can't even open the book? What if it doesn't have a spine? What if you can't even read the book? Or what if a book is appropriated? Is it a book? What if a book is giant and you can't even lift the pages by yourself? Is it a book if it's a performance? As an artist, I'm trying to reinterpret the book form, so I'm asking a lot of questions. And some of those questions make sense and some don't. What do you guys think? What is a book?
I love this question, and I've actually answered it in a previous video, but I don't think I did a very good job, so give me a second chance. These are all my books, just so you know. I'm just using them as examples here. In my mind, artist books have two types, traditional and experimental. A traditional artist book, an everyday person would look at and think to themselves, yes, clearly that's a book. Experimental artist books are challenging the book form. The artist is asking themselves, what is a book? And they're taking the definition and stretching it so that your imagination is suddenly above and beyond the traditional artist book. I'll stand by what I said in my previous video, that artist books have exploded since the invention of the internet. They existed before then, but since we need books less in society, we don't require them anymore. We've moved to be a technological society. It's made room for artists to ask the question, what is a book anyway? We've kind of come in and taken over the form. Does that help?
Are books actually on their way to obsolescence? I made that bold statement in my previous video on artist books, and people were quick to point out that book sales are doing better than ever. To respond to this, we have to turn to Marshall McLuhan, who established media theory. Disclaimer, I am not an expert on media theory, but I took an amazing class on the history of book and printing last semester. One of Marshall McLuhan's key concepts was that when a new technology takes over the role of the previous technology, then that previous technology becomes aestheticized. As an example, the record player. It was useful in its time, but it became obsolete with the invention of cassette players, CDs, and eventually stream music. But now record players are making a comeback. Is that what's happening to books? We no longer need the book form, so instead we are turning to it as a beautiful object, as an escape from modern technology. I don't know. Does that mean books are dead? What do you guys think? I'm back with another artist book. This one is called In Here, Out There by artist Jody Williams. In the artist book world, Jody Williams is really well known, and her work is all like this, miniature. This piece in particular is about being in Minnesota in the winter and wanting to go outside, but also not wanting to go outside. So it has these accordion fold books on the inside, and then when I close this up and turn it around, there's actually a book hidden in the back as well. This book is tiny and fragile. The ladder is made from linen thread, and the pages are all hand printed with the little finds that you see in that image. What do you think? Is this a book? Just to warn you, this is a very disturbing book. It was created by a student for the Altered Book Project. An altered book is when an artist takes a book that already exists, in this case a children's book, and alters it or changes it in some way. The artist here added images of Catholic priests. The juxtaposition is haunting. Is it a book? I have another artist book to share with you today, and this one is really cool because it's made from a single piece of paper. I did not make this book. It was made by a student, and Max Yella at the UWM Special Collections keeps it on hand because it's such a great example of a single page fold book. You can read it like a book, but you can also unravel it. There are so many amazing tutorials online for how to do this, and I get a lot of comments asking, where do I start? How do I make books? And this is a great way to start, and it's so much fun if you just take an image that you paint or draw or doodle on one side and cut it up. Then you can fold it and it'll read like a book. But what do you guys think? Is this a book? I'm kind of surprised that people needed more explanation for this book, but you're not the only one to ask. This was a children's board book, so Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so, was in the original board book. All of the text on the side there is from the book itself. The images of the priests are added to the book by the artist. So the artist added this cover with the priests doing a Nazi salute, and they added the portraits of the priests on the inside with their crimes labeled beneath. That one says murder. I'm just covering it with my thumb. So I don't really know what further explanation this needs. I don't know who these priests are. I'm not an expert in church crime. That's not the point. The point is the crimes of these priests are juxtaposed with children's text about Jesus and the church. I am so excited to show you this artist book today. It is my personal favorite artist book in the special collections here at UWM in Milwaukee. It's by artist Mark Wagner. It was made in 1998, and it's called I Smoke in My Dreams. It's a book that uses traditional printmaking techniques, letterpress, and collage. I love collage. It's my favorite. Oh my gosh, I love the aesthetic of this book. It's just so beautifully constructed. Mark Wagner is pretty famous in the art world, and this artist book in particular is very famous. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? He's also pretty well known for his paper cuts using real American money, so you should check him out. We're back with another artist book. This one is a house, or is it? There are obvious analogies between books and architecture. Book covers open like doors. We enter into the space of a book. Chapters are like rooms. Books have passages, columns, and tables. Marianne Riker's one-of-a-kind artist book turns simile into metaphor. Where the book is not like architecture, it actually is architecture. It can be read as a book or explored as an architectural structure where the term housewife takes on a literal meaning. So which is it? Book? House, toy, model, kinetic sculpture, or all of the above? What do you guys think? You guys asked for it. I'm back with this book so that I can show you some of the pills. All of them are different. They all have some terrible recommendations on them. And I just find this to be so satisfying. Maybe not the best advice, though. PSA, don't do any of this. That's kind of the point. Thank you. I'm back with another artist book, and I'm so excited to show this one to you. It's called Don't Bug the Waitress. As I open it, you can see that it's in the shape of a menu, one of those packets that you would get at any kind of diner. And I love this book because it's not perfectly constructed like a lot of artist books are. It's a screen printed book, but it's not perfectly cut. It's kind of scrappy, but it's really funny, and it's fun to go through. You are looking at it like you would look at a menu. So those both are accordion fold little books on the inside. And this last one is also accordion fold out. It's called A Broadside, and it's a story that clearly the waitress has had to endure. And at the end there, she kind of stops listening. So what do you guys think? Is it a book? Do you like it? Here is another amazing example of a book that might challenge your definition of what a book is. This is artist Jody Williams. She is one of the most famous book arts creators in America. All of her books are so tiny and wonderful, and as you can see, she includes vials and other artifacts on the inside, along with these little pages that are all hand printed. They're absolutely magnificent. This is another one of her books. What do you guys think? Is it a book? I'm back with another artist book, and I think you guys are going to appreciate how this book was made. It's completely fabric and made from fibers material. It was created by Candace Hicks as part of a series in which the artist was designing books to look like dime store composition books, but completely made from fabric. The use of embroidery thread allows for the text, image, and substance of the book to be inseparable. Books are usually pretty authoritative. They provide an arena in which fiction can be accepted as fact, and observations can take on a mythic narrative quality. That's why Candace Hicks has chosen a handmade book that records coincidental occurrences and mundane events. Here are some other examples from the composition series, Common Threads. So what do you think? Can it be a book if it's not made from traditional book material, and if it's completely stitched by hand? Is it a book? We are back with another artist book. This is from book artist and papermaker Regula Roussel, I think I said that right, on Hospitality, which is a limited edition, 6 copies only. When we open it, we encounter these 3 vessels, which are all handmade from paper. The viewer has to cradle them and tip them and turn them to be able to see the text on the inside. You have to be very careful. There's a delicacy to the way that you encounter it. So, are the egg-like vessels accompanied by a book, or are the vessels themselves, the book, accompanied by a commentary text? Or is the whole thing, box included, one comprehensive book entity? What do you guys think? Book or not a book? We're back again with another artist book. This is by artist Sarah Peters, and it's called Necessary Disclosures. It's a spherical book that's actually made from cast paper. So each layer reveals another sphere. There's letterpress writing on the inside, and the reader is asked to ponder similarities between events in one's private life and those happening on a global scale. Spherical in form, this book opens to reveal 6 nested pages of text that can unstack to be read. What do you guys think? Is this a book? I'm back with another artist book, and I think you guys are going to love this one. It's by Roberta Lavadure, and it's a unique artist book from 2008 called Relative Memory 2, and it's completely constructed from glass. Roberta's mother took her own life when she was only 5 months old, and her family was instructed to never speak of her again, so she grew up with only photographs. This book is essentially blank. There's no content on any of the pages, just a series of empty glass slides. The image of the artist's mother is embedded on the inside of the spine and projects through the edges, appearing holographic. As the pages are opened, the image begins to fragment and disintegrate. The more one tries to access the information, the more elusive it becomes. If books are memory storage devices, then this one seems to suffer from some kind of biblio-Alzheimer's. What do you think? Is it a book? Guys, I got to come back to the special collections by chance today, and I was able to take a few videos of some of the artist book collection here at UWM Milwaukee. So this one was made by a student for a final project. So this is not a professionally made book, but instead a book made by someone who was young and maybe newly introduced to artist books. What do you think? Is it a book? I'm back with another artist book. This one's from Minneapolis printer and book artist Barbara Harmon. It's called Home Before Dark. This one's a little hard for me, so I'm curious about how you guys feel about it. It's an edition of 25, and she uses traditional bookmaking skills and artist book skills. There's box making, there's an accordion fold, and as you can see here, a little tunnel book. But it doesn't act like a normal tunnel book. You can't fold or unfold it. It's kind of a paper diorama, which is maybe not a book, even though it's part of the Book Arts collection. I don't know. Is it a book? Here are some close-ups, and if you're interested in making something like this, it's such a simple and beautiful construction, so check it out. I thought you guys would appreciate this artist book. It's by a woman named Jessica Poor. It's in the special collections at the UWM libraries. Inside are pills that give advice such as eat raw meat or run with scissors Basically some bad advice. What do you think? Is this a book?
I'm back with another artist book, and I'm really excited to see what you guys think of it. It's by Jessica Poor, the same artist who's made a couple other pieces I've shown on here. It's called Begin to Know Yourself. In this work, the viewer is required to slide interlinked tiles in a particular sequence in order to reveal advice on how to achieve self-realization. The viewer is then invited to reassemble the fragmented images of self into a coherent whole. So, the artist considers this a book, and it's part of a book arts collection. But can we really consider this a book, or is it simply a puzzle, a game, a toy, or a novelty item? Tough call. What do you guys think? Is it a book?
Alright guys, I'm back with a particularly strange artist book. This is Surrogate Number 5 Male. It's by artist Jessica Poor, and it's designed to sit on the side of the table so that when you open it, the guts spill out. This scroll codex is designed with vellum set into a cigar box with doll parts attached. The stitching is reminiscent of someone trying to put themselves back together again. Hastily done and incomplete. This book is about childhood trauma, isolation, alienation. It's very sad, and it's hard to look at sometimes, but it's very effective. Is it a book?
I'm back with another artist book, and this one is yet again by Jessica Poor, a fan favorite around here. I wanted to show the last book that I have a video of from the UWM Special Collections. Jessica Poor is from Milwaukee, and she made this piece, Medusa, in 2007. Scrolls have an interesting place in the book arts world. Some people do not consider them books, and that's okay, but do they belong in book arts? Do they belong as an artist book? That's kind of an interesting question. This one is a scroll inside of a box that you have to crank. Is it a book?
Is this an artist book? Created by student Elizabeth Kramer, this work actually has a 1943 biannual report canned with fluid inside of a mason jar. Pigment from the book has stained the water, creating a murky environment that obscures the preserved book. Is this a reference to a biological specimen or preserved food? Even the notion of book preservation? Many questions are formed. Why is this book canned? What function does it serve? Does the canning elevate the artifact's value? What information is being conveyed through this presentation? But the main question is still, is this a book? Clearly the object inside the jar is a book, but it's now become part of the jar and the contents as artifact. The book has lost its traditional bookness and has now become an object of display with some other meaning than its original intent. So is this a specimen, conceptual piece, sculptural object, or is it just a silly pickled book? What do you guys think?
One of the greatest challenges in the art world is feeling original. And I felt crushed by the pressure to have a new idea, a new thought, a new concept. So when I was introduced to artist books, I was shocked at how free I felt. For the first time, I felt like there was so much possibility, so much potential, and so many places that my artwork could go. Artist books are fairly new. They haven't been fully explored yet by artists. So there's so much potential in painting or sculpture and ceramics. It's been done before. It's almost impossible to feel like you're achieving something that's a new idea or a new thought. And artist books are a place to be. It's a place where you can find originality, find new thoughts, and possibly even be your best artist. So if you've never done it before, maybe you should check out Making Artist Books.